This is the 6th generation Subaru Forester. Look, I'm not going to try and fool you guys about, oh, let's get in it and drive it and see how it is, because as you can clearly see, I have already driven it. So I'm going to tell you what I think about it and everything that's changed on it.
The chassis remains the same, though it's been stiffened up for improved handling and stability. And the engine is the same as well as the previous engine, but beyond those two major things, most of the Forester has changed.
And it's nothing drastic, but it's definitely enough to make it look kind of new and a little bit more sophisticated. It gets a new front fascia and new headlights. You can tell that the fender flares here are a little bit more pronounced. It definitely has the typical Subaru cladding, but it still has its basic upright body shape and looks very much like a Forester.
The upright greenhouse still looks familiar, but slightly more pronounced thanks to a more defined snout and upright windscreen. Overall, I think the Forester looks a bit more grown up, like a perfect mix of the smaller, more youthful Crosstrek and the larger, more sophisticated Ascent.
The interior gets a lot of major upgrades too. This part of the dash, they've kind of made this multi-dimensional here, so it has a really nice shape. I love that they use texture, they use color, they use different materials in here. This is very interesting, unlike what Honda is doing in some of their smaller crossovers, which are just sort of boring black plastic. This is actually very attractive and really nice. You are going to get this 11.6-inch infotainment screen on everything but the base model. That gets two 7-inch screens, one that's for HVAC and then one that's for infotainment. There are a couple of buttons on here, but not a ton. Maybe it's just enough. This part of the HVAC system, this is permanently here, so you can't really like bury this too much. Overall, I like that this is kind of oriented this way. You have your Apple CarPlay. It's basically done just exactly the way that your phone is. So yeah, overall, a lot of improvements in here. I like what they've done.
The seats have been reworked with more bolstering and actually feel more comfortable and reduced fatigue on long trips. Ask me how I know. You can also now get the StarTex interior materials on the Sport trim.
The one thing that you do get on the Forester that you don't get on other competitors in the segment is standard all-wheel drive. That system is going to give you a little bit more confidence when you're driving in inclement weather, or if you're looking for a little bit more grip around turns. Subaru has retuned the system. Its reactions are a little bit quicker, making you that much safer.
Thanks to its slight increase in size, the cargo capacity also improves, but it still doesn't get to its competitors, the Toyota RAV4 and Honda CR-V levels. However, with a low load-in floor and some creative storage hacks, it's a very usable cargo space.
When it comes to second row seating, it's very comfortable back here, even behind what I would consider my danger seating position. The seat pretty far back. There's tons of room here. It's also a very comfortable surface. You can tuck your feet underneath the seat in front of you. You get plenty of headroom because of this nice tall structure and this like upright greenhouse. When you move over into the middle seat, this the transmission tunnel is not bad at all. So you do have a little bit of a comfortable seat, even though it's not terribly wide. So you'd have to have someone who is maybe a little bit narrower. And then all the way over here behind my ideal seating position, I mean, it's just like oodles of room. You get some air vents back here. This is the Sport trim, so you don't have to go too high up on the trim walk in order to get this, and some charge stations, some charge ports back here. Overall, honestly, it's very comfortable. Nice soft touch points. I feel like your passengers are not going to be unhappy back here at all.
All models also come standard with Subaru's improved EyeSight suite of camera-based driver assistance features, which now has a wider field of vision and includes automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning with lane keeping assist, and adaptive cruise control, among others, all standard.
The powertrain on the Forester remains the same, although there has been a ton of adjustment and work done to it. You do get some extra weight savings. The power numbers, though, on this are a little bit different. So you're down in horsepower actually to 180 horsepower. That's from 182. The assumption would be that you are actually going to be a little bit slower, but the way that Subaru has tuned this now, you are actually going to get into the peak meaty part of the torque range at 3,700 RPM instead of 5,400 RPM. So what that does is that actually makes you think, cheats a little bit, makes you think that you're actually going a little bit quicker than you were. I honestly, as far as acceleration goes, I am not feeling like this is sluggish or it's any different. This is a naturally aspirated engine, so you're not going to get that turbo lag. I think it's actually a really creative solution to try and make you feel like you've still got some decent power. I'm up in the mountains right now, and I don't feel like this is lacking in the power department for what this vehicle is and does.
While it's got the same specs, it has been heavily revised and is lighter. It mates to a CVT, which you know are not my first choice as far as transmissions go. They do kind of dull the driving excitement quotient, in my opinion. However, Subaru's doing a good job at tuning this one well. It doesn't have gears, but it mimics them decently, and more importantly, it's quieter than it was before.
You do get paddle shifters on the sport trim and above. And what this allows you to do on the CVT is sort of downshift, if we're going to call it shifting. It does mimic an 8-speed automatic transmission pretty decently. I think Subaru's done a pretty good job of refining theirs a little bit more than maybe some others. So it doesn't bother me in this application at all.
While your first choice might not be the CVT either, you cannot argue with its efficiency. EPA fuel economy estimates look generous, with the Sport and Limited trims sacrificing one digit on each of those numbers. Subaru also tells us that there is a hybrid powertrain coming later in the year, but they are very tight-lipped on any details yet.
The steering system in the Forester is just a little bit different now. It's a dual pinion setup, which is derived from the WRX, making it a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit sportier. Are you going to really be able to tell the difference? Probably not. But certainly I loved how that steering feels in the WRX. And I like that they've focused on that a little bit here as well. Again, you know, it's not like laser precise. You're not driving a McLaren, but in this application, I think what you've got is going to work just fine.
One other thing I'm going to say is how improved the sound is in here, or I should say lack thereof. Subaru did wonders with the Crosstrek at making it quieter, using extra damping materials, and they've worked some of that similar magic here. Gone is that Forester tinniness. This is a much more serene place to drive. The base Forester starts at $31,090, including destination. That gets you 17-inch wheels, LED headlights, dual-zone climate controls, and roof rails. The premium trim will cost you $33,390. Here, your feature list really ramps up with a power-adjustable driver's seat, that larger center screen, a panoramic power moonroof, and leather-wrapped steering wheel. You can also get a power tailgate, blind spot detection, and rear cross traffic alerts with a $1,200 package.
Base price on the sport trim starts at $35,890. You do get some cool bronze accents, bronze wheels, bronze badging. Subaru does tell us that this is really the trim level that most of their younger buyers buy, so they're trying to make it a little bit sporty for you. It does also get the dual function X mode, which is one that actually gets modes for deep snow and mud, as well as snow and mud. And what those will do is they will sort of modulate throttle response, or those will eliminate or sort of disable traction control depending on the scenario that you're in and the terrain. So all of those functions are actually really handy and really helpful when you're doing sporty things, hence sport trim.
In a word, X mode works, and it works really well. There is quite a bit you can do in this crossover when it comes to adventure. And if even more adventure is your thing, well, the Wilderness trim level is probably one that you want to look at. It's the ultimate for the off-roading Forester and is confirmed to be coming now for 2025, but not quite yet, so the 2024 is still available until that materializes. That gets you some more exterior cladding and more ground clearance, among other things. That is definitely the one you buy if you want a get out and Subaru. Get it? The limited trim costs you $37,390 and gets leather seats, 18-inch wheels, and an available 11-speaker Harman Kardon audio system, as well as navigation, while the touring trim comes in at $41,390. It gets every single option available without needing a package, including a 360-degree camera system, a rear-view mirror monitor, 19-inch wheels, perforated leather seats that are heated and ventilated, and a couple of more advanced driver safety features.
Each one of the trim levels comes with its own distinct look or distinct styling, so those people in the know who know Foresters, they're going to know which one you're driving.
Other competitors in the category include the Hyundai Tucson, Nissan Rogue, and Mazda CX-5.
If you're in the market for any one of those cars in this segment, click on the link above. Kelley Blue Book can help you find a fair purchase price.
The Forester has been around since 1997. That was when the Spice Girls topped the charts with Wannabe. Now they're all turning 50. But you know what? They look just as good as the new Forester.
But Subaru keeps fine-tuning and refining this vehicle, making it quieter, more comfortable to drive, safer to drive, giving it better tech. I don't know, that all sounds pretty good to me. If you are in the market for a compact, 2-row, 5-passenger SUV, then maybe all of that sounds good to you too. And no, it doesn't come with the dirt on it. That you gotta do yourself.